Hey guys, and welcome to a tournament showdown between two DBD clanmates. On the left hand side, representing the forces of the Greenskins, we have the legendary Logic, a YouTuber here on YouTube, and Papa Palpatine, the old school killer of DBD, bringing the forces of Bretonnia to the forefront. And without doubt, this is my least favourite faction in the entire game at the moment to face, and that is the Greenskin Tide. So let's see what Logic has brought for them. We have a mixture of Savage Orc Biggins as well as regular Orc Biggins and Goblins dotted all the way along the front line. A nice little mix. I like the fact he has overloaded the flanks as well as the more elite troops, looking to swarm and break through the peasant mobs in the front and shut down those archers in the rear. On the right hand flank we have the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, looks like triple normal ones and triple archers, although one of them is in fact the Morgrub's Mangy Marauders. And these guys are one of the big reasons why I absolutely despise facing Greenskins at the moment. You guarantee that your opponent is going to bring them. They're going to bring an absolute ton of these guys. They're so good cost-wise, value for money. They poison you, they're sticky, they scuttle all over the battlefield and into your back lines. And there's not too much a lot of factions can do to fully shut them down. You kind of just have to keep them at bay and allow them to waste their ammunition, but they're so cheap. Putting resources in to keep them at bay and just away from your juicy targets can be also a bit tricky. Down here on the left-hand flank, though, we have a Goblin at Big Boss on a Spider himself, an epic character who comes in with They Need Stabbing, really good kind of cheap assassin option. We also have a giant River Troll Hag bumbling forward with her mighty sack of meats, and she is coming in with Miver as well as Soul Blight and Spirit Leech. And leading the forces, we have the immortal Scarsnake and the mighty Gobbler. Scarsnake in general is pretty tanky to kill. I think it's because he gets pushed over quite a lot. Comes in with Fermented Fungi and Spite into Bad Moon and Get Back here. Greenskins actually have some really good leadership options all round. I'm a big fan of Scarsnake here. Now for the forces of Britannia, another real tough faction to face, mainly due to the Fey Enchantress. She is a slippery devil indeed, can heal herself up, more Ascension effect, all that good stuff. She's coming in with Chalice of Potions, Favour of the Fae, Arcane Conduit, Regrowth, and Earthblood. And instead of double Paladin, we have a pretty cool build here. We have a normal Paladin mixed in with the Green Knight. Now, a lot of people used to think the Green Knight was a bit of a meme, and I can understand why. But in this matchup, he causes terror, and he has physical resistance. Greenskins don't have much magic damage, so I quite like this pick here, actually. We have double Grail Guardians over on the right-hand side, Living Saints Anti-Infantry Cavalry. We have Knights of the Realm then dotted throughout the rest of the battlefield, as well as a bucket ton of Peasants and Peasant Bowmen, as expected, and some men-at-arms in the back lines just to make up the rear. Looks like the Fey Enchantress has gone for a Leroy Jenkins-style approach into the Goblins. She won't be taking too much damage here, though she has been hit by a Spirit Leech and a Miver to slow her down, allowing the Orc Biggins to perhaps come in and surround her. And this would be a disaster if they got taken down early on. Grail Guardians do come slamming in, though, to the Orc Biggins, doing some nice damage. We're also going to be getting a extended Earthblood coming up and a Fermented Fungi, but the Enchantress has too much health, so she won't be rampaging here. Paladin is having had to dive in, though, to try and assassinate the giant River Troll Hag, and has been hit by a Favour of the Fae, but also They Need Stabbing, making them incredibly squishy, and because the Fae and Grey Knight aren't assisting, that's going to be a tough fight. All along through the front line, the little Goblins are going to be hacking at the hamstrings of these peasant mobs, stabbing them in the guts and overwhelming their lines as Orc Biggins and the Savage Orcs do start to move around the right-hand flank, trying to put some pressure on this back line. Looks like we have a big potion coming in, but it's only on Goblins, so relatively cheap and cheerful, so they're not going to mind taking this one, as it does pound down and do some massive burst damage. And it looks like it's going to be followed up as well, rather nicely, by the Knights of the Realm, a 2-for-1 punch. Over in the main blob fight, however, the Paladin has been forced off. Scarsnake doing some pretty decent damage after the debuffs did engage. And the Fey Enchantress has been hit by a Soul Plate as well as the Green Knight. Both these guys taking huge damage. Giant River Troll Hag and the Goblin Boss punching back against the elite core of Bretonnian warriors. Grail Guardians are staying in combat maybe slightly too long up against the bonus versus large Biggins, but at the same time there's some good cycle charging coming on, wrapping around the flanks and really hammering home these troops. Looks like the giant River Troll Hag has been terrified away. This Paladin should be able to mop her up quite nicely, although there's so many units to chase and force off. Green Knight does get hit by a Regrowth. Peasants in the back line are being overwhelmed by the sheer weight of Goblins. It looks like the characters are trying to dart back to save this situation, as of course archers are pretty key in a lot of Bretonnian builds. Over on the left hand side we have the triple Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers simply pinning the Knights of the Realm in place, allowing the Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers to poison them, and the Savage Orc Biggins to really drag these Knights down into the muck, stamp on their skulls and laugh in their faces. And wherever you look around the battle, there is Greenskins pouring in to the unprotected back line of Peasant Bowmen. They do have Pox arrows, they might be able to slow down some of their pursuers, but it's not going to go too well for them. Knights of the Realm have been hit by fermented fungi, stopping them from being able to retreat away from Skarsnik, which is a nice play by the Greenskins. Although he is now slightly isolated due to some good cycle charging by Grail Guardians over on this right-hand flank. All of the Goblins and Biggins and Savage Orc Biggins are running from the hills. Goblin Big Boss is about to be slaughtered by these Grail Guardians. If they actually get in there and start using their magical swords, looks like they're going to be doing that. Down to 400 health, yeah, he's not having a good time whatsoever. And Skarsnik has been left in the ruin of the battle. Blood and goo dotted all over the place. Flame Charges does fall back to the relative safety of the Green Knights, but there is some Orc Biggins starting to emerge from the tree line to hammer in on top of these Grail Guardians. We're up to 84 kills, and a pretty decent job so far. They are holding back the Green Tide to allow these peasants to reform ranks and unleash hell from afar, doing some really nice damage, it looks like, at the moment on some Goblins. A big potion is going to be coming down once again onto the Orc Biggins, although it looks like they may be able to escape if they move it quick enough. If they just push forward, but I don't think they're going to be able to dodge, and bam, it does come down. Seems to get clipped on a tree slightly, but doing some lovely damage all the same. Guardians do bounce out over to this left-hand side, trying to pick apart Goblins. Balance power is still relatively even, despite the fact the Greenskins have just overrun the back lines. Although a bit of a mistake here, Orc Biggins are chasing off all these cheap troops. Take that one unit of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, finish these guys off, and get those Biggins back in the main fray. Over on this side, the Knights of the Realm have finally been dealt with, but not before slaughtering their fair share of scuttling beasties. The Peasant Bowmen continue to reign in fire, focusing on the Orc Biggins. Not a bad target whatsoever, as they're one of the best damage dealers to deal with the Green Knight at this moment. Skarsnik is certainly trying his best, and the Green Knight really struggling to get to grips with him. Skarsnik still 4.3k health, Green Knight only 3,000, but that is a duel which you would consider would go in favour of the Green Knight, due to the fact he is, of course, ethereal. A load of Knights still bouncing around. Earthblood going to be keeping those guys nice and active. They hammer into Forest Goblin Spider Riders as well as Goblins. But Spite of the Bad Moon has been popped, as well as a Fermented Fungi once again on the Fey Enchantress. She is rampaging into those Orc Biggins with the Spite of the Bad Moon, giving that bonus versus large. They are ripping her asunder. Not having a good day whatsoever. She can't even heal herself because of the fungi's activation, and she's having to desperately retreat here. Arcane Conduit has been popped. She may be able to rally as Grail Guardians slam home in a desperate attempt to save her. Luckily, a lot of the Greenskin skirmish cav is over on the far side, so the Fae should be able to come back into the fray. Orc Biggins chasing away Peasant Bowmen is going to be a good job for them, as the Bretonians again very beat up at this moment. Balance power is going in the favour of the Greenskin forces. The Green Knight continuing to hack and slash the Skarsnik. The Skarsnik just not giving a damn whatsoever. That 55 melee defense going strong up against the 60 melee attack, holding the line, and also that poison coming in is going to lower the stats of the Green Knight despite his ethereal state here. Knights of the Realm and Grail Guardians desperately trying their best to pick on softened targets, but there is 71 Savage Orc Biggins left. That is going to be a nightmare to deal with, and all of the Spider Riders are now just pouring fire in on top of the Green Knight. You can see a lot of his stats are now reduced with that poison effect. Get back here has been popped on Skarsnik just to keep the lads in order, as of course a few of them will get terrified away like these Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers. More Goblins are rallying to the aid though of the true King of the Gobbos. Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers now deciding, you know what, it's actually a better idea and use of our time to focus down these beleaguered Grail Guardians and really help finish them off, as the Goblins and Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers get in here, start to break a few troops. Peasants desperately try to counter skirmish back, but Mogreb's Mangy Marauders are still very healthy, as are both the units of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers with decent amounts of ammunition left on them. And it's a bad day if you're a mighty knight in thick, glorious, enchanted armour, and you get killed by a load of little sneaky spiders who consistently poke you with rusty arrows. Peasants here getting swarmed in combat. Good micro play by the Greenskins and Logic here to force their way into the back line. Have a good counterpunch. Grail Guardians floating wherever they are needed, desperately trying to save the poor peasant line. In this sense, we do have a big fat 74 unit of Orc Biggins who need to return to the fray, as well as some Knights of the Realm, but these guys certainly need to get moving and back in action, although the Bretonian player has been forced in the corner. I don't know if he's even going to need those troops any longer. In the distance, men-at-arms are desperately trying to chase off some Goblins, but that's not going to really have too much effect on the actual main battle, as the Fey Enchantress continues to get peppered down. A nice slow approach here by the Greenskins. We'll use our ammunition and slowly push you further and further into the corner. One unit of Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers has managed to rally here, and once again they're going to be poking it down the Fey. Simply leave the Green Knight. You're not going to be able to assassinate him, so leave him to the end kind of stages of the battle. Finish off the Fey, finish off all the Knights. Knights of the Realm do charge headlong into the Orc Biggins, which is going to be their last charge, as they do get dragged down by the superior numbers, and so few Knights aren't really going to be able to make a dent and kind of send the Orc Biggins, you know, down the hill, kind of tumbling away and getting trodden under hoof. Grail Guardians trying their best to counter skirmish them. and Cycle charge them to death, but it's not going too well. Green Knight is going to have to go for a Leroy Jenkins-style approach, and this is certainly where the Bretonnians have their one chance back in the game. If the RNG goes the Green Knight's way this time, and he's able to assassinate Skarsnik rather quickly, terror could form, and the Green Knight may be able to tear out a lot of these troops. The battle is very close to the edge of the map as well, so terror routing could be disastrous here. Forest Goblin's going to continue to harass and hunt down the Fey Enchantress, looking to kill her rather than escort her off the field. Some of the Morgul's Major Ones actually died to friendly fire, but they managed to shatter the Fey, and it looks like it is the Green Knight versus the world, as well as a few loyal Grail Guardians who attempt to avenge their lady. Green Knight trying his best, once again going up against Skarsnik, who just does not care for his magical blade. Doesn't want to die whatsoever. Surrounded by the lads who've been egged on. He's got to put a show on for them to prove he is still the biggest and the baddest of the Greenskins. And he does manage to seal victory. Very well played to the mighty Logic and Papa Palpatine. Really awesome game. This was from the Warhammer World Championships, a big event that has been going on for quite some time now. We are casting games and looking to do some more live streams of that in the future as well. Now, this is one of a mighty best of 3. All the games are pretty epic, so you may see another one up on the channel soon, as they were all sent in to me. But yes, as I said before, very well played Papa Palpatine and Logic. As I said at the start of the video, Logic is a YouTuber. You can find him at Logic_EU, and he does all things Total War Warhammer based. Before we get to damage value and damage stats, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. We drop new videos every single day, and we're in fact doing a live stream today. I'm recording this as the first rounds of our tournament are underway, and when we get to semi-finals, we'll be casting, so probably roughly about 7 PM BST, British Summer Time. But yeah, just feel free to check out the video when it's there. But yeah, all that good stuff. And also down below, there's links to my Patreon and Discord. On Discord, you can send me replays, get involved in tournaments, chat with a load of cool people, learn the game, get better at the game, and see a load of pictures of ducks. And on the Patreon, you can help support the channel and our ultimate goal of eventually doing this, you know, as a full-time kind of job, I suppose. It would be really cool. But anyway, for the mighty forces of Palpatine, Fey Enchantress, of course, always a very viable option. 1,000 damage value. Unfortunately, kind of got a little overextended now and again and didn't really manage to get her full potential off of consistently spamming the Green Knight of Hells, but still a good kind of play all round, some nice potions to help clear out the enemy chaff. Paladin suffered a little bit, mainly due to that Goblin Big Boss just hacking out his legs, hamstringing his horse, and slitting his throat. The Green Knight is a really fun pick. Now, I don't think it's terrible here whatsoever. It still is incredibly expensive, but the Ethereal and Terror can work wonders. 1.3k damage value, and I have no idea. He does have really good melee stats, I promise you. I don't know why he struggled so much to deal with Skarsnik. Must have just been some really unlucky RNG, and the sneaky Goblin always has some schemes up his sleeves. Anyway. Of course, the foot troops didn't do too much for Bretonnia, and the archers got overwhelmed due to the massive 20 stack of Greenskins that came his way. I quite like the inclusion as well of the Grail Guardians, units we don't get to see terribly often, but 1.7k damage value here, 1,000 on the other one, 129 and 175 kills, certainly performed rather well. The Knights of the Realm doing an okay job, again isolated over on that left-hand flank. As for Logic, this is the way you play Greenskins, and it's one of the reasons I absolutely hate playing Greenskins at the moment, is you have mid-tier infantry mixing with a load of goblins, a bucket ton of spider riders, sometimes you take out the infantry and add trolls instead, and you just slowly grind down your enemy of big, 20, 19, 18 stacks of hordes just walking towards the enemy, which really suits that war style of play. As the mighty Skarsnik, 1.6k damage value, but those fermented fungi were really well timed. First one a little early on the phase, so she didn't rampage, but all the other ones worked absolutely perfect, stopping the Fae from healing herself and escaping bad situations, and just being hugely tanky in surviving the wrath of the Green Knight. Goblin Big Boss, 1.2k damage value. He's such a cheap character and brings some good utility. Giant Revitor Hag not doing too bad herself, with a mighty 647 damage value. Goblins across the board actually got pretty okay damage value stats because they got on the back line and shut down the archers, and the Orc Biggun's doing really well here. We have a 1.7k damage value. It's disgusting, and 73 kills. 600 here, 300 and 1.1. These guys certainly will be surrounded with the Green Knight and some of those elite characters. 89 kills, but some good value across the board. Equally, the Savage Orc Bigguns did a solid job. 858 damage value, 995, and basically full health. As for the pesky units, they don't necessarily get the hugest amount of damage value, but they harass your back line, they hunt down your troops, they poison you, and yeah, pretty scary stuff. Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, 620, as well as 500 damage value. Morgrub's Mangy Marauders coming in with 1,000. I really like these guys, and the fact that they are picked very often, because I love wolves, and the wolf cavalry is kind of a bit of a letdown compared to the the Spider Riders, so it's always good to see the Morgrubs in action. The regiment around here doing rather well. 4,297 damage dealt, over 1,000 damage value, 23 kills, all that good stuff. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.